Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Aditya Savu, General Medicine resident from SLIMS. I'll be talking about mitral stenosis and mitral regurgitation. So first study about mitral wall anatomy. The mitral wall apparatus is a funnel-shaped structure with its apex in the left ventricle. It has mitral annulus and two leaflets, namely anterior mitral leaflet and posterior mitral leaflet. The two leaflets are attached by about 120 chordae tendineae to two papillary muscles. Normal mitral wall orifice is about 4 to 6 centimeters square, average being 5 centimeters square. Mitral stenosis. Mitral stenosis is a form of valvular heart disease characterized by narrowing in, of the opening in the mitral wall, which lies between the left atrium and the left ventricle in the heart. This narrowing can reduce the amount of blood the heart can pump, leading to various complications. Etiology of mitral stenosis. Rheumatic fever contributes for more than 90% of the cases. Congenital mitral stenosis, systemic lupus erythematosus, left atrial myxoma, left cor triatriatum, in which congenital membrane resulting in three atrial chambers. Mitral annular calcification and extension onto leaflets. Hunter and Hurler syndrome, in which there is excess mucopolysaccharides deposition in the tissues. Coxsackie B virus carditis. Rheumatoid arthritis and infective endocarditis are rare causes. Rheumatic fever as a cause for mitral stenosis. As I told, it contributes for more than 90% of the cases of mitral stenosis. Rheumatic fever is an inflammatory disease occurring as a delayed consequences of untreated pharyngeal infection caused by group A streptococci, primarily involving heart, joints, central nervous system, skin, and subcutaneous tissue. Mainly in children aged from 5 to 15 years, two-thirds of the patients are females. Latent period for pharyngeal infection to rheumatic fever is from 1 to 5 weeks, and from rheumatic fever to rheumatic heart disease is 3 years to more than 20 years. Pathophysiology is first is molecular mimicry, cross reactivity of host antiseptocal antibodies to cardiac antigen. Second, microbe-initiated autoimmune reactivity. Pathogenesis in rheumatic fever. It causes exudative and proliferative inflammatory lesions of the connective tissue. In heart, all three layers are involved. First, myocardium, it causes fibrinoid degeneration and shows pathognomic ascotic bodies. In endocardium, produces varicose valvulitis. It may later lead to healing with fibrous thickening and adhesions of valve commissures, leaflet, and chordae tendineae. End result of this is varying degree of stenosis and regurgitation of valves. Wall involvement, mitral wall alone is involved in 50% cases. Aortic wall alone is involved in 15 to 20% cases. Mitral and aortic wall together are involved in 30 to 45, 30 to 35 to 40%. In mitral and aortic wall are involved in 2 to 3%. Pulmonary wall is very rarely or almost never involved. In pericardium, it causes pericarditis, producing a pericardial effusion and a thick serous exudate that gives the bread and butter appearance macroscopically. Extracardiac lesions of rheumatic fever are arthritis in 60 to 70% patients, subcutaneous nodules, erythema marginatum, fibrinous pleurisy, rheumatic pneumonitis, and syndrome sporia. Normal mitral wall orifice is about 4 to 6 centimeters square, average being 5 centimeters square. Severity of stenosis depending upon wall size. Minimal is more than 2.5 centimeters square. Mild is 1.5 to 2.5 centimeters square. Moderate is 1 to 1.5 centimeters square. And severe is less than 1 centimeter square. According to gradient across stenotic wall, normal wall gradient is 0 millimeters of mercury. Stenotic grading in mild mitral stenosis is less than 5. Moderate mitral stenosis is 5 to 15, and severe mitral stenosis is more than 15 millimeters of mercury. Pathophysiology and hemodynamics in mitral stenosis. Obstruction to the flow of blood from left atrium to left ventricle leads to elevation in left atrial pressure up to 25 millimeters of mercury in severe cases. In mitral stenosis, there is increase in left atrial pressure, which leads to pulmonary venous hypertension, leading to pulmonary arterial hypertension, leading to right ventricular hypertrophy, right ventricular dilatation, tricuspid valve ring dilatation, and functional tricuspid regurgitation, which ultimately leads to right ventricular failure. In mitral stenosis, there is even left atrial dilatation, which can lead to atrial fibrillation or stasis of blood, thrombus formation, and systemic embolism. Cause of pulmonary hypertension in mitral stenosis. Passive pulmonary hypertension, passive backward transmission of elevated left atrial pressure. Reactive pulmonary hypertension due to reflex spasm of pulmonary arterioles in response to elevated pulmonary venous and left atrial pressure. Ejection fraction of the left ventricle is reduced in approximately 1/3 of patients due to decreased preload from impaired filling, impaired afterload, secondary to reflex vasoconstriction, which is due to secondary to reduced cardiac output. Patient with severe mitral stenosis easily decompensate with tachycardia and high flow. Clinical features of mitral stenosis. Symptoms: mild to moderate mitral stenosis patient may remain asymptomatic. Lymphatic hyperfunction in such patient may help prevent pulmonary congestion and its related symptoms. Dyspnea. Initially, it is exertional, but gradually progresses to a state of breathlessness even at rest. Dyspnea is due to pulmonary venous hypertension, leading to fluid accumulation into the interstitium, which causes decrease in compliance of the lungs, and increasing work of breathing results in dyspnea. Orthopnea and paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. In supine position, there is increased venous return to the heart, which will increase venous pressure, resulting in orthopnea and PAD. Hemoptysis. Due to rupture of pulmonary bronchial venous connections, secondary to pulmonary venous hypertension, pink frothy sputum of pulmonary edema. Winter bronchitis. Patients with mitral stenosis are more prone to recurrent attacks of bronchitis, particularly in winter season. Other symptoms of mitral stenosis are palpitation, fatigue, loss of appetite, chest pain due to pulmonary hypertension, and congestive heart failure. Symptoms of right ventricular failure like peripheral edema. Signs in mitral stenosis. Mitral phases, seen in severe cases with low cardiac output and peripheral vasoconstriction, in which lips and faces are cyanotic. Despite of cyanosis, there may be a malar flush due to dilated veins in the cheek. Peripheral edema in congestive heart failure. Low volume pulse, irregular rhythm, and varying volume in atrial fibrillation. Left parasternal heave, tapping apical impulse. Raised JVP in congestive heart failure. Diastolic thrill over mitral area. Exercise accentuates the thrill. Loud S1, sharp opening snap, which indicates pliability of valve, best heard during expiration. Ejection click. Pulmonary systolic ejection click may be heard in severe pulmonary hypertension. Murmur in mitral stenosis. Mid-diastolic murmur well localized into the mitral area. It is a low-pitched, rough murmuring in character, best heard at the apex with the bell of the stethoscope, with the patient in the left lateral position and during expiration. Murmur is accentuated by exercise. Duration of murmur correlates with the severity of stenosis. The longer the duration of murmur, the more severe the stenosis. Murmur disappears in severe due mitral stenosis due to decreased cardiac output. Signs indicating severity of mitral stenosis: narrow A to OS interval, signs of pulmonary arterial hypertension, long diastolic murmur, signs of right ventricular failure. Investigations in mitral stenosis. In ECG, we see P mitral due to left atrial enlargement, which we can see in the ECG below. Right ventricular enlargement. Atrial fibrillation is severe mitral stenosis, in which there will be absent P waves and varying RR interval. In chest X-ray, we see left atrial enlargement and straightening of the left heart border due to prominent pulmonary artery and left atrial appendage. You can see in the middle chest X-ray. Later, mitral wall calcification may be seen, double right heart margin, and indentation of esophagus on barium swallow, which we can see in the third image. Chest X-ray findings due to pulmonary venous congestion and pulmonary hypertension. Curly A line, straight line up to 4 centimeters running towards the hilum. Curly B lines, which are the short horizontal lines near postophrenic angles. Bilateral peripheral opacities dense at hilum, fading towards periphery. Prominent pulmonary conus, pulmonary arteries, and left and the main branches. Echocardiogram can reveal mitral stenosis and mitral orifice size or any calcification of wall. Anatomy of mitral wall and size of the cardiac chambers can be seen in the echocardiogram. Transesophageal echo can reveal mitral wall anatomy, calcification, a clot in the left atrium. In below echo, we can see the calcification of the mitral walls and narrowing of the opening of the mitral orifice. Complication of mitral stenosis. Atrial fibrillation causes can be seen in 40% of the cases due to loss of atrial contraction. With atrial fibrillation decreases the cardiac output by 15 to 20%. And atrial fibrillation with rapid ventricular rate decreases the diastolic filling time and further compromises cardiac output. Systemic embolism. Dislodgement more commonly in freshly formed than in old form. More in brain, like 60 to 70%, then kidney, spleen, and other extremities. Pulmonary hypertension, right ventricular failure, hemoptysis, winter bronchitis, dysphagia due to esophageal compression by left atrium, Ortner syndrome, which is the rare in which hoarseness of voice due to paralysis of the left recurrent laryngeal nerve due to compression of the nerve between the enlarged tense pulmonary artery and the aorta at the ligamentum arteriosum. Management of mitral stenosis. Rheumatic fever treatment. Tablet aspirin 75 to 100 mg per kg per day in 4 to 5 divided doses till the activity of rheumatic fever subsides, which we calculate by ESR. Steroids 1 to 2 mg per kg per day is also given. Continuous prophylaxis against rheumatic fever with injection benzazine penicillin 1 to 1.2 million units intramuscular every 3 to 4 weeks. Patient allergic to penicillin, we can give tablet sulfadiazine 1 gram daily or tablet erythromycin 250 mg daily. Prophylaxis is continued up to the age of 25 years or 5 years after the last attack of rheumatic fever. Medical management in mitral stenosis. Treatment of atrial fibrillation with anticoagulation, digoxin, verapamil, diltiazem, and beta blocker and cardioversion can be tried. Treatment of right ventricular failure with salt restriction, diuretics, and digoxin. Surgical management in mitral stenosis. 4 modalities of surgery are available. Closed mitral valvotomy without cardiopulmonary bypass, open mitral valvotomy with the aid of cardiopulmonary bypass. Third, percutaneous balloon valvuloplasty. And fourth, mitral valve replacement. This is how percutaneous balloon valvulotomy is done. Valve replacement. These are the various valves which can be used: cagged ball valve, tilting disc valve, and bioprostheses which are made from porcine bioprostheses. So moving on to mitral regurgitation. It is abnormal reversal of blood flow from the left ventricle to left atrium, which is caused by disruption of any part of mitral valve apparatus like leaflet, anterior and posterior leaflet, mitral annulus, chordae tendineae, papillary muscles, subjacent myocardium. Etiology. Acute etiology is infective endocarditis, post myocardial infarction, in which papillary muscle rupture, blood trauma, caudal rupture, in mitral valve prolapse, and infective endocarditis. In chronic, primary causes are myxomatous, rheumatic fever, congenital, and radiation. In chronic cause, secondary, like ischemic cardiomyopathy, dilated cardiomyopathy, hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy with systolic anterior motion, chronic atrial fibrillation with left atrial enlargement. Symptoms of MR: dyspnea, fatigue, palpitation, mainly in atrial fibrillation, orthopnea, pulmonary edema, often initial manifestation. Signs seen in MR: pulse, there is high volume pulse that is severe in mitral regurgitation, may be collapsing, irregular rhythm, and varying volume in atrial fibrillation associated with long-standing MR. Blood pressure, wide pulse pressure in severe MR. Inspection and palpatory findings in MR. Apex beat is shifted downward and laterally and is hyperdynamic in character. Systolic 3 left apex. Sustained left parasternal heave and palpable pulmonary component of second heart sound in pulmonary hypertension. On auscultation, first heart sound is usually soft. In severe mitral regurgitation, the second heart sound is widely split due to aortic valve closure occurring early. Left ventricular third heart sound may be present in severe MR. Murmur of MR. The typical murmur of chronic MR is high-pitched, blowing, usually pansystolic, best heard at apex, commonly radiating to axilla and interscapular area. In patient with ruptured chordae tendineae, the murmur has a seagull sound quality. In patient with flared mitral leaflet, the murmur has a musical quality and is late systolic. Signs indicating severity of MR: high volume pulse, cardiomegaly with hyperdynamic apex, left ventricular third heart sound, wide mobile split of second heart sound, loud pansystolic murmur, mid diastolic flow murmur at apex. Investigations in MR: ECG can detect left atrial enlargement, left ventricular dilatation and hypertrophy, biventricular hypertrophy in pulmonary hypertension, which can be seen in the chest X-ray below, atrial fibrillation, Chest X-ray shows cardiomegaly with left atrial and left ventricular enlargement, giant left atrium, calcification of mitral valve. Echocardiogram can detect enlarged left atrium, hyperdynamic left ventricle, degree of mitral regurgitation. In the below image, we can see the mild, moderate, and severe, which can be seen in echocardiogram. Complications of MR. Progressive heart failure is the most common cause of death in these patients. Sudden death, stroke, and fatal endocarditis are less frequent. Other complications are atrial fibrillation, infective endocarditis, left ventricular failure, then pulmonary hypertension, which occurs late. Right ventricular failure and systemic embolism are very rare complications. Management of MR. Medical management contains infective endocarditis prophylaxis is not indicated in patient with MR. However, it is mandatory for patient after mitral valve repair or after mitral valve replacement. Rheumatic fever prophylaxis, restriction of physical activity, evaluation and modification of coronary artery disease risk factors to prevent its development. Treatment of heart failure with salt restriction, digoxin, diuretics, AC inhibitors, and vasodilators. Treatment of atrial fibrillation with digoxin, verapamil, anticoagulants, and cardioversion. In acute MR, nitrates and diuretics to reduce filling pressure. Surgical management in MR contains reconstruction of mitral valve apparatus by mitral valvuloplasty or mitral annuloplasty. Mitral valve replacement with prosthesis. Indication of surgery. Acute MR, chronic severe MR, asymptomatic or symptomatic patient with mild to moderate left ventricular dysfunction. Thank you.